Hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728, and my topic today is a sad one. Basically, YouTube merch is killing the planet. Is it the only thing that's killing the planet? No, there are other stuff that's killing the planet, but I think YouTube merch, I don't know what the percentage would be, but I don't know what the percentage is, but I think it's a high amount. Maybe it's a small percentage, but it's a high amount, and it's a symbol of how we are collectively killing the planet. As I am a very, very new YouTuber, I don't even know if I should call myself that, but looking around at all the other YouTubers that I follow and whose videos I look at, I see many of them are selling YouTube merchandise in order to help their bottom lines. And it's not a bad thing inherently. YouTubers, it's a job, and they have to find a way to make money. And one of the ways that they can make money is by selling things. But clothing, hats, t-shirts, whatever, it's symbolic of what was going on and what I presume is still going on at malls all over the world. People, when I had a girlfriend, she would shop continuously, and she would also every once in a while, maybe once a year, collect all of the clothes and items that she didn't wear regularly or didn't want anymore, and go and donate it to a Goodwill. So there was a cycle, except it's not much of a cycle, because when she donated stuff to the Goodwill, I'm sure I was involved in a clothing collection for victims of a particular natural disaster, and I was able to see literally mountains of clothing that was donated to the victims of that particular natural disaster. And the vast majority of it is just thrown away. I would assume that it's a very, very similar outcome when it comes to clothing that is donated. And I'm sure most people don't even bother to donate their used clothing. They just chuck it straight in the bin. My ex-girlfriend, she was trying to do the right thing by donating this stuff, but I'm sure most of it, or many of the things that are donated to Goodwill, just end up getting tossed because people maybe they don't get it, maybe it's a willful lack of understanding that if you have something that has a stain on it or a hole in it, it's not something that someone else wants to buy or they want to wear. Unless it's really good quality stuff that doesn't really appear to be that used or worn, nobody wants it. Okay? And there's a couple things that I want to hit on that are really important. One, according to, I think it's Hassan Minhaj of, I can't remember the name of his show, or maybe it was John Oliver. One of them mentioned that ready-to-wear, pret-a-porter, fashion, the fashion industry, the volume of clothing has grown 4 times from the 1980s to the present. And I'm sure it's probably even more than that. Maybe I'm understating it. For no good reason, the number of clothes that are being used and thrown away every year, or just bought and maybe stocked up in somebody's garage or their attic or wherever else, it's increased by 4 times. I really doubt the population of the planet has increased 4 times. So it just means that people, instead of keeping their clothes, they are buying pretty things that they see and putting it in a room somewhere, and when they're fed up of it, or they move or they die, it goes straight into a landfill. And the problem with using so much more resources, whether it's water, whether it's fertilizer, whether it's energy, in order to create these items of clothing that we do not need, is enormous. I mean, there is a worry. I don't know if it's a meme, you might say, among people with respect to AI, which is that, hey, we might create some kind of AI that to make paper clips, and it might run out of control and turn the entire earth into paper clips. And whether it's a meme or it's a joke worry, the fact of the matter is, companies these days and even industries are that AI. We are on paper worried about a thing and not noticing that it already exists. We are doing that. Every company in every industry wants to grow, whether it is good for the planet or not. And I would have had a video about that companies are the new predators. But they're not just, the new predators. They're the new ecosystem. They're everything. They are the bacteria on your skin. They are the predators. They are the parasites in your body. They are the poison ivy, the poisonous mushrooms. They're everything and everywhere. And all they want to do is to get bigger and bigger and grow forever. The next part of the problem is, let's say, for example, you say, okay, well, we're using up all these resources. Who cares? We are, of course, increasing CO2 in the environment from all of this activity. We're using up fresh water that people need to drink. We're also poisoning the planet. In order to make these textiles, there's a documentary by DW Channel. I think it's a German channel. They looked at a river in Indonesia where a lot of clothing is made. And they showed how many different pollutants end up in the river, in that specific river in Indonesia, because of all of the textile factories that make clothing, or not clothing, they make the material for clothing along the river. There are more than 200 different factories, and they dump their stuff into the river, and they poison. People use that same river for irrigation, and the rice that's grown using that irrigation water from the poisoned river, kids eat it in Indonesia, if it's not even also exported. And it's obviously not just Indonesia that these things happen. This probably in Vietnam. Any place that you look at that has a label on it, made in wherever, the same kind of lax environmental policies exist, and people are being poisoned by all of this stuff that is being sold pointlessly because YouTubers need to make money. I think YouTubers should just completely abandon any kind of merchandise, especially clothing merchandise, because it's just getting people to buy things that they don't need in order for you to get a percentage of the money. Just give them the money. Just ask for the money. Can I get $1? If you get $1, and it's not hurting the environment, all right, that is $1 that did not go into dumping pollutants into a river for a kid to eat the rice from the irrigation water that's used from that river. If we can just ask for the money alone. I mean, even when I see people who are selling me things on the side of the road, I just want to say, here's what, I don't want your item, but here's a donation that's probably worth two or three times the amount that you would end up getting from selling me whatever item it is that you think makes money. I just ask for the money. I think at the end of the day, it comes right down to what they say you should do with respect to when you're donating to charities and so on. Just give them the money. They might waste the money, but at least there's not going to be that additional waste of whatever it is that you're buying that you don't want, but you buy in order to give for charity. Just give to the kids. And another thing I wanted to point out, people will sometimes see this thing, this label, if you're an American and you see something that says made in America, and you think to yourself, okay, well, it's made in America, so it's probably not in a sweatshop in Asia, and it's probably the factories have good environmental records, etc. That's not the case. There are many places that fall under America, especially some of these islands in the Pacific, where they're American, but many US laws don't quite apply there. So what it means is you get to put a label on your clothing that says made in America, but it's not made according to what Americans would observe their standards to be. It's just made actually, as a matter of fact, it's not even made using the local people. In many instances, they import foreign workers from some of these same places that you're trying to avoid having the clothing made. They import foreign workers from Vietnam and Thailand and Indonesia, probably, maybe from the Philippines, temporary workers who have no unions, who have no power, who have nothing. And they don't have to follow some of these stringent guidelines that they would have to follow if they were in mainland USA. So that made in America, it's a false label, because it's under American power, but it's not under American rules. Don't be fooled. If you need money to help you with your bottom line, just ask for the money. Don't help global warming. Don't help people to be, taken advantage of in sweatshops. Don't help kids to be eating rice with 100 times the amount of lead that is allowed in any developed country. Just if you want to and you want to find out about it, you can Google this stuff. I may go and look for some links in the description, but it comes down to look for how much the ready-to-wear industry has increased by since the 1980s. People are using clothes that they don't need. Look for where some of this clothing is made in Indonesia, in China, in Thailand, in Vietnam, where there are no unions. People have no choice but to work for whatever it is that they're offered. They have no free time, probably. And a lot of these companies are just dumping their pollutants straight back into the environment. People are using the water, or they're just inhaling maybe lead tainted dust. There's environmental pollution. And of course, there's this CO2 that's going into the environment for making this t-shirt that you're going to toss as soon as something spills on it and it's stained. Or maybe you just don't like it and you never wear it. Please, just think about this stuff and try to conserve if we can. We need a movement. We probably need a leader. We need somebody to realize that we need to stop. Our GDP actually needs to go down. People might lose their jobs, but at least they're not going to lose their lives. Let's do stuff that is helping the planet and not hurting the planet by just doing busy work. Anyway, guys, as always, wish me lucks. You can like or unlike. You can comment. You can subscribe and or share. I appreciate it. And let's get the message out there. Let's kill some of this YouTube merch that nobody wants, really. Thanks. Peace. Bye.